Let me give you a story from yesterday. The Biden administration casting conservative opponents of the COVID-19 vaccine campaign as dangerous and extreme. This is new terminology from them. If you don't believe in the vaccine, which I do, I just choose not to get it because I've already had COVID. I still have the antibodies. I'm going to let my body do the work. But I have no problem if somebody wants to take the vaccine. I would not give it to my kids, but I certainly would recommend it for my parents or anybody else. In fact, we've urged our parents to get it, and they have. But if you don't take it, you are dangerous and extreme. Now, this is a political posture. And the reason why they're doing it is to convince people that we should take it. Hey, you dangerous extremist, you should get the vaccine. I don't think you're calling me a dangerous extremist, and you're going door to door. Now, Fauci said yesterday that, there's this misunderstanding, a bunch of federal workers knocking on your door telling you got to do something you don't want to do. He said that's not what it is. It's not the case. It's trusted messengers who are part of the community doing that, not government officials. I don't care who it is. Why not just give the vaccine to my doctor? And my doctor can help me make the decision, and my doctor can give me the vaccine when I'm in the office. I get my flu shot that way. Yeah. Why can't I do that?
Wouldn't make sense.
Now, there's something buried in this story. And here's what it is. Biden allied groups, including the Democratic National Committee, are also planning to engage fact checkers more aggressively and work with SMS carriers to dispel misinformation about vaccines that are sent over social media and text messages. Now, the story goes back into how the Biden administration want to take politics completely out of this. But hold it just a second. The Democratic National Committee and Biden allied groups are planning to engage fact checkers more aggressively and work with SMS carriers to dispel misinformation about vaccines that are sent over social media and text messages. Now, I've got a few questions that apparently the Politico doesn't want to answer or doesn't even think that they're important. In responding to the political story, Leslie Palma, she just, average American, just said, I think you buried the lead in your story. DNC reading text messages is pretty damn scary. Well, the author at Politico said, as the story points out, it's allied private groups that are working with SMS carriers, not the White House. Right. She didn't say that. She said it's the DNC reading text messages, which is what you wrote in your story. Even then, there's no ability for groups to read individual texts aside from the ones they received themselves. Could you clarify a couple of things for me? How does the DNC define misinformation? I'd like to know what misinformation is. I'd like a clear definition so I can avoid those things. And how would the SMS carriers know when so-called misinformation is being spread over text? Are they now reading all of our texts? They have an algorithm that is doing that. So what are you telling the algorithm to look for? And how do you dispel that misinformation? I'd like answers, Politico. Natasha Korecki. Could you fill us in on that? Maybe an update on your story and just help us out? Because things are starting to seem a little 1984. Klaus Schwab has called now. He's from the World Economic Forum. He's the guy, the leader of the Great Reset. He says it is time to immunize the internet because there are viruses being spread on the internet. and we have to know who's spreading these viruses. I think we might have a different definition of virus, Klaus. Now what they're saying is they want everyone to have biometric data whenever they get online. So there's a fingerprint on who it is. And it's going to be, it's going to be for your safety, really. That's what it is. We'll be able to know exactly who everybody is, exactly what they tweet, what they read, what they do. It'll be fantastic, and it will never be abused. By the way, in a completely unrelated story, I told you yesterday about the new bill that came out last week to put the government in charge of your credit score. The idea is to dramatically overhaul the U.S. credit reporting industry. Oh, my gosh. The Comprehensive Credit Act and the Protecting Your Credit Score Act of 2021 is a bill now under consideration. It's coming from the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, that is the Elizabeth Warren group that she set up under Barack Obama. And they're going to take the responsibility away from these, quote, profit-seeking companies. It's why these profit-seeking credit bureaus are constantly expanding their products into uses such as employment insurance, tenant screening, that ultimately harms Americans and contributes to the massive inequality in our nation. So what they're saying is they need to take it over because there's no fairness built into these profit-seeking companies. Do you realize what control the United States government will have over your life if they are the one issuing your social credit? And believe me, it will become social credit. It's not based on your financial ability. It's not based on merit. It's not based on what you make, how you spend it. It's not based on really anything traditional. It's a dramatic overhaul. By the way, the banks are deeply in bed now with ESG. That is a new credit score that all of us will have. When I say that it's going to get harder and harder for you to get a loan, it is going to be harder and harder for you to get a loan. You remember, this is nothing new. If you are found to be a dangerous extremist in any socialist nation, by the way, you notice that the Democratic Socialist Party, they're not over in Sweden right now saying, hey, can you give us some of your good ideas? They're in Venezuela right now talking to Maduro. Can you give us some of your ideas? I thought this was all about Sweden, not about that kind of socialism. I guess you were lying to us. What a surprise. What's happening right now is the Great Reset, but it is not a conspiracy theory. It is a conspiracy fact. It is my contention that the Marxist movement, these are useful idiots. They are being used by very powerful corporations and our government. And they believe that the only way that we're going to be able to survive as a nation is to get the government and big business in together so they can make the decisions on what we should consume, what we should build, how we should move, what we should wear, what our CO2 footprint is. Right now, if I were a tree, I'd be like, these people are so stupid. Is what I breathe in as a tree. I just want you to know. I want to show you that it is a long-standing goal of the left, a long-standing goal of the left to do this.